Right, well, welcome everybody to the AGM of the Friends of Skokholm and Skomer. My name's Jonathan, and you probably have seen or heard my name before because I've been bombarding you with emails over the last couple of weeks about joining us for this and signing up for the full reunion talks. But this is the formal part that we usually do during just after lunch on the Sunday when we all get together in Bishop's Cleeve. So it's taking the same format just as we did last year. I've got some slides to show you that will take you through everything that's been happening over the past year and what the committee have got in mind for next year. And there's plenty of chance for you guys to ask us any questions as a committee as to what we've been up to, or if you've got any questions or queries, there's some space for that at the end. So don't hold back. Give us a grilling if there's anything you want any answers to. So any of you that are not familiar with Zoom, if you can keep yourselves on mute unless you're actually talking. If you want to see a list of participants or to send a little message, there should be little buttons across the bottom of your screen to help. If you want to raise your hand digitally to get my attention, if for some reason I'm not seeing that you're trying to speak, then you can click on the reactions button. The little green thing is not quite in the right place. It's a reactions button you need just to raise your hand. And if you, as I say, we are streaming this live and there will be a recording. So if you don't want your face shown, just stop your own video just so you can't be seen. And if you can't see any of these buttons, there's a little more button there, and that should give you the other options. But after the last couple of years, we're probably all Zoom experts now, so hopefully none of that is new to you. So yeah, shortish agenda. We'll run through any apologies. So the committee are all here apart from Irene Payne, who's in a power cut from yesterday. Mark Burton unfortunately can't make it, and Wendy James is away. We have about 15 or 16 other members here present. So there's actually about 550 other members that aren't here, but we won't go through those apologies individually. So the first item will be just to whiz through the minutes of the last AGM, and I've got them up on the screen for as a memory jogger, but they are brief as the meeting is quite brief in itself. But unless anybody's got any objections, as I just scroll through them now, if you have got objections, raise your hand or unmute yourself and shout. But otherwise, we'll agree these as a good record. We're very lucky. We've got an excellent secretary in Carol Collins who records everything brilliantly for us. So they're always pretty much spot on. Just hide my face so you can see the bottom bit. Okay. So a lot of this stuff will be picked up again today anyway as well for an update. So that was the minutes of the last meeting. So unless there's any objections, we'll agree those. I'm not seeing any waving hands or shouting, so we'll go with those minutes. So the next item is matters arising. So I don't know if anybody's got any urgent things that they wish to bring up. As I say, we've got any other business at the end. So if there's something general you want to ask about, then you can ask that at the end. But is there anything urgent with regards to anything we'll talk about today, i.e. the Treasurer's report or myself, just so we can be ready? No, everybody's nice and quiet. That's lovely. Thank you. Okay. So I'll just take you through my chair's report then, and just looking back on last year, obviously another COVID affected year, but we managed to get a lot more done this year than we did in 2020. So hopefully you've all been receiving your excellent new newsletters. Tim Healing and Vicky have been working really hard on the new format and polishing it up, and it's always a pleasure to receive. Fantastic photos, a lot more colour, and a lot, you know, nice and compact, fits very nicely on your bookshelf. So hopefully you've all been enjoying those. We continue to meet on Zoom as a committee, which obviously has been helping our carbon footprint, which is absolutely fantastic byproduct of the current situation. We're quite spread out. We've got people in Sheffield or near Sheffield. We've got people down in Oxford, and I'm down in Plymouth. So not having to all travel across the country to a central meeting point has really helped. Another really good news story is our membership is up to 673 at the last count, which is a continued increase on last year and the last few years. So that's a big thanks to all of you for maintaining your memberships, but also thanks to the trust as well, because since they made it possible to join online, that's had a huge impact on our membership numbers. So that's been a real boost. And of course, those memberships, some of them are joint ones, some of them are individual standalone ones. We held a book event. Mike Alexander very kindly offered to do a special event just for friends at the launch of his new book, which obviously is a great fundraiser for the trust as well. So that was a nice thing to happen back in May. It brightened us up when we were still a struggle to get out to the islands. We've funded a Skokholm vegetation drone survey, which you picked up in some of our talks. If you pay to listen to the talks, Mike Alexander picks up a little bit on that, and we're got some fantastic images out of that we can use. But also the main purpose of it is for research. And so there's some really amazing high resolution images that researchers can use looking at the vegetation on Skokholm. A big well done and thank you to Shirley Matthews, who I think is present. She's definitely our individual top fundraiser of the year. She produced this fantastic book, which John, the Treasurer, will pick up in his report, that has raised a huge amount of money. She also had a very special birthday, which she raised some funds for the Friends as well from. So yeah, an absolutely brilliant supporter, and she's usually out there on the islands cooking as well. So yeah, a real shining example to all of us really as what you can do to help. So thank you very much, Shirley. We helped with the delivery of new Skokholm vehicles. The trust was successful in obtaining funding to buy some new vehicles for Skokholm. And so some members of the Friends were on hand to help with those deliveries. Work could start again on the islands, and so some of our members again helped with the rebuilding of North Pond Hyde on Skomer. And we also funded the binding of the Skokholm Bird Observatory reports. So when you're sat in the lounge on Skokholm, there's some very nicely bound books now that you can flick through. The Bird Observatory reports going right back to when the observatory reopened. So that's another nice project that probably actually, with us being a bit locked down, probably brought us a bit of time to get on with. So thank you to all involved getting those done. Looking ahead to next year, again, just hoping to get back out on the islands more. Obviously, we're still trying to catch up on stuff that we couldn't do in 2020 and 2021. So looking forward to getting out and getting work parties back up and running again, supporting the purchase and delivery of supplies and discounts. Fund any projects that get brought to us by the islands team. Lisa and Richard and Giselle and Leighton, are really good at asking us for help, and we'll help them however and whenever we can. Continue working with the trust and the wardens on all of that stuff. We support the long-term volunteers. As you know, they're out there for several months at a time and don't receive any kind of pay or anything. So we help them out with some of their expenses in terms of things like food or parking their car. So we'll continue to do that. And continue to review the status of the archives project. We had started looking at heritage lottery funding and things like that, but obviously with the pandemic, all of that went on hold, and Heritage Lottery have changed their direction on some things, so it needs a bit more thought than that. The other idea we're considering is a semi-permanent telescope at the Wick on Skomer. It needs a bit more thought, but a big problem down at the Wick is the instability of tripods on the windy Wick, and enabling children to get up high enough to look through telescopes as well. So we're looking at some kind of semi-permanent structure that telescope, as you can see on the picture just behind my head there. So those are things that we're considering over the next year, and probably lots more beside as things come up. So has anybody got any questions from my my little roundup there, what's been going on, or the committee? Have you got anything that I've forgotten? Because I often forget something quite crucial and important. No? Brilliant. Okay. Well, after that little whiz through there, it's my chance now to have a bit of a breather, and you to have a breather for me, and hand over to John, who's the treasurer, and he'll just take us through some of the highlights of our income and expenditure over the past year. John.
Thanks, Jonathan, and good evening, everybody. So I'm going to talk about the accounts up to the 21st of January 2022, because our year ends on the 1st of April. So it'll be 9 months of the year. And I'm very grateful, as always, to Steve, who actually puts the accounts together. I just do all the sort of basic slog, the amanuensis, as you would call it, and Steve sorts the accounts out for me. So thank you again, Steve, for that. Next slide, please. So income from last year, Shirley's contribution was tremendous, and that's a picture of Shirley on the left there, helping unload many years ago. That was, I think, but there she is. And thank you, Shirley, for your contribution, which is at least £746. It keeps on trickling in, which is quite remarkable. So thank you. And there's also a donation from a lecture fee from Chris Perrins, for which thank you also. Next. And we spent, as Jonathan said, £737 on the binding of the Skokholm bird reports, which look very good, and I think it's probably very worthwhile. The drone survey was £1,500, and I hope that will be valuable for many years to come for research projects. And then the annual Google fee is £60. Next, please. So our expenses, we pay for the work party expenses because we can do it so much more quickly, and the people who fund it out of their own pockets don't have to wait so long for the return. So we spent £700 on the work party, and that's all recovered. Newsletter costs, that's the last edition, were nearly £700, and those recovered. The whole of 2021, the newsletter they're both about £700, both editions, and that seems to be fairly standard. And the LTV expenses, only one long-term volunteer last year, for £250. So we use your subscriptions to fund the newsletter and the long-term volunteer expenses, because the subscriptions go straight into the trust's accounts and not ours. And it's our way of using them and using that part of our income. Next, please. And the final slide, our general accounts is this money really comes in for things like the reunion, about £5,500. The fundraising account still got £3,000 in it. We have a shop float for £1,000, and the library fund still has 1,100. So we have some money to spend next year on things like the Skokholm Skomer telescope, and anything else that the islands require. So if there are any questions, please fire away. Great. So I'll hand back to Jonathan.
You got away with that, John? No, I can't see any.
I've got away very lightly all these years.
That's good. It's the least favoured job on the committee, I suspect, being treasurer. But John, you always do an excellent job, and yeah, it's nice to see that we've got some money in the bank to get going with projects that we want to do over the next year. So if definitely nobody's got any further questions for John, we shall move on. No. Okay, brilliant. So the next item then is the election of committee members. So those of you who got the newsletter will know that we are going to have a slightly reduced committee. Myself and Victoria Sewell have decided to leave after the AGM. So this is the committee as it stands at the moment. And at the moment, Carol is secretary and John is the treasurer. And Tim Healing is currently the vice chair. So we haven't had any nominations for the committee come through the official process, but you know, we will over the next year. I'm sure the committee, you know, if they get an approach from somebody who's really keen to join, there is a possibility that people could be co-opted in the interim. So if anybody's very passionate and wants to maybe talk to the committee informally, then the contact details are in the newsletter. So we have to just formally ask the members that are present, which is only 25 of us, but we just have to ask the members present if they're happy for the listed people here to remain on the committee. So I've got, let's do it officially, shall we? So I've got a little poll that I can launch. So if everybody's happy with the names listed, hopefully you'll get a little pop-up asking you to agree or disagree with the election of the persons listed. And we've already got a majority in favour of that. So, but if everybody else wants to make their feelings known, we've got 19 out of 24 people present have agreed, 100%. So let's put that down as carried. So there we go, fantastic. So I think technically I carry on as chair until the committee hold their first committee meeting after this meeting. So I'm sure they will be announcing who the new chair is in due course. So yes, on that note then, I just wanted to say thank you very much to all the committee for all their help. I've been the chair for about 4 years, I think, 4 or 5 years, 4 I think. And it really is a team effort, especially when it comes to things like the reunion. It's a lot of hard work, but there's always good support from the whole committee. So just want to say thank you very much to them, and obviously to all you members as well for keeping me in position. Vicky has been on the committee for 4 years and who's sadly stepping down as well. You know, as I mentioned earlier, she did a lot of the hard work, all the hard work really, on the Heritage Lottery Fund Expression of Interest application, which was successful, which not all, very few of them are. So that was a real achievement. And it was just a shame that COVID then put a stop to all of that. And of course, she's been key in revamping of the Islands News. So big thanks to her. And I just want to say thank you to Tim, who's currently my vice chairperson. He's remaining on the committee, but he wants to step down as vice chair. And he's been doing that job, I think I'm right in saying, for 12 years, which is fantastic. And again, I know that all the committee are really grateful for his time and commitment over the years. And I'm pleased to say that he'll be continuing on supporting and editing the Islands News. So yeah, thank you very much to Tim. As I say, I have very much enjoyed working with everybody. And but of course, like all of us, I shall always be involved in these islands, I'm sure, in one way or another, even if it's just visiting and seeing all of your hard work. So thank you. So that's all from me. Has anybody got any other business they'd like to bring up? Or any questions for the committee, or any questions that you'd like us to raise with Wildlife Trust, or any questions that, you know, that we need to go away and find an answer for that's playing on your mind? Oh, John.
Well, can I just say, because I don't think it's been said quite enough, thank you very much for all your efforts as chair. You've been a terrific chair. So
Oh,
I'm sure I'd like to speak on behalf of the committee that we're very, very grateful for all the efforts you put into it.
Yeah.
oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
And Vicky and Tim too. The newsletter has been tremendous this last few years, and it's been done with such a will and such good spirit. It's been a pleasure. So thank you very much.
Absolutely brilliant. So tactful.
I'm a bit worried that you might have me in big. Can you see everybody now? Have we gone back to seeing everybody on screen? No, you've still stuck with me. I don't know how. I can't remember how I take that off. So just bear with me.
We can put up with it.
No, I can see everybody.
Right. Oh, good. Helen, you've got a question.
Well, I originally stuck my hand up to say thanks to the committee and to the people who are stepping down from the committee for the job they do. But as that's already been said, I'd like to echo what's already been said. And then second of all, do you know yet whether normal visiting to Skokholm is going to be allowed this year? Because we're all champing at the bit to make sure we can get there.
I think it is for Skokholm. Yes, they prioritised people that had been bumped, didn't they, last year?
Yeah.
But as far as I'm aware, it's gone back to normal booking procedures at the moment. I don't know if any of my colleagues, John, I think you were nodding. Does that sound right?
Yes, they've prioritised the people who were bumped last year. So if you were bumped last year, you should have had a chance to book again this year.
Without any restrictions about mingling when we get there?
There are some restrictions. I think they reduced the numbers of people as far as I know. Steve might know more.
I don't know more, but other than Leighton did say that it's going to be normal visiting on Skomer this year, so I would think Skokholm's going to be similar. Richard and Gisela here from Monday, so we'll probably find out then. But the obvious answer to all of this is to ring the Wildlife Trust at on their number. There's something on the website as well about opening up bookings to everybody at the end of February, if I remember rightly. But so worth a look.
Yes, the website you can now book online. You can book your day on Skomer online.
Great, thank you very much.
Sheena, hello.
Oh, hold on. Am I unmuted? Can you
You're
hear me?
unmuted. I've unmuted you for
Good,
you.
thank you. No, I just wanted to say in response to that, yes, again, I echo the thanks to the committee for all the hard work. And also to say that I was fortunate enough to get to Skokholm last year for the first time ever. And it was a wonderful experience. And they have had some restrictions in terms of numbers and mingling and so on, but it really was absolutely wonderful. And I just wanted to make that comment. I've been a regular volunteer on Skomer previously, although I wasn't able to volunteer last year. But the visit to Skokholm was wonderful.
Excellent. Excellent. It's good to hear. And I think, yeah, I'm sure they're going to be jam-packed this year and next year with all these people, all of us that are sort of desperate to get our fix again. Has anybody got anything else they'd like to bring up, or any observations or anything they'd just like to share with us all while we're here? There's still 25 of us here. No. Well, that was short and sweet, 26 minutes so far. Can I just say, I wanted just to remind everybody of the, oh, there we go, malfunction, of the talks. So if you haven't booked and paid for your talks yet, there are 10 fantastic talks. It costs £10 if you, as you remember. We've got an amazing range from across the world, and that's been a real benefit of having an online reunion. You know, we've got Holly, who some of you will be familiar with, who now lives in Australia. She's done a fantastic talk for us, right up and back across to the Celtic Sea, and some of the work that's happening on offshore wind and things like that, and how that could potentially affect or not affect the wildlife on Skokholm and Skomer. So lots of familiar faces, but also lots of new places to explore through these talks. So as I say, it's 10 available. They're available to watch until the 6th of March. So you've got loads of time to enjoy them. And the £10, all of that minus about 50p that goes to PayPal, all of that £10 goes straight into the island's accounts, ready for supporting some of the projects we've heard about today. So your support is much appreciated.